he wants to rework it, let's say. Okay, he hasn't been very supportive of the thing we did last year. So my understanding is now, they filed their bill a little while ago. My understanding is now that they have worked out a series of compromises that they're going to offer as a substitute amendment. We're going to have 2 hearings on this in September. Y'all know this? Suppose that what we're going to try to do.
1486.
What's that?
1486.
Yeah, this is the Senate bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to have 2 hearings on it, and my understanding is if it all goes like we think it will, and of course we have Syria and lots of other things, so, but assuming it all the schedule holds, looks like we're going to have 2 hearings in September, and then probably a vote in the committee in about a month. Well, that's late September, early October. I'm not sure it's up to the chairman to set that, but my guess is it'll be, I'm just going to pick a number, first week of October, maybe. Something like that, try to get it out. And there'll be I'm sure there'll be some other stuff on the calendar too. And then, what I would say to you all is, let's all read that bill and the amendment, or amendments closely. Let's see if it's something we can support or not. Like I said, I did support the one last year. I understand you guys have a lot of concerns about what you've seen so far. And I'm like you, I don't know exactly what all is in the compromise for this.
Well, what was your stance on 1486 as is?
I haven't read it yet. I think I'm against it, but I haven't read it yet because I knew that they were working on some compromise. It just hadn't been ready for me to look at. So in September, when we come back, we'll be back in Monday. We'll look at it as it goes and see, as amended, if it's something that I can support. Are you guys opposed to the current, is it 1486?
I think the word is vehemently.
And I'm sure that has to do with a lot of things, but tell me your say top 2 or 3 objections to 1486.
What it does to our benefits, federal health benefits, changing that, and retirement benefits.
Yeah. Now, changing the federal health benefits, meaning taking it out of the FEHBP.
Yes. They want post office to try to run it, and you know how well they run the post office. I don't want to handle my health insurance.
Well, I've been very critical of the Postmaster General for trying to do that. It doesn't make sense to me. One of the things you get into with insurance generally, but certainly health insurance, you have what they call a law of numbers, just an insurance term. What that means is the more people you have in a group, the better deal you get. You got more negotiating power. You get more coverage with bigger volume. That type of thing. It's just the way insurance works. So what this would do is it would take y'all out of the big FEHBP and put you in a smaller thing. It's still big, but it's smaller than FEHBP. He's convinced he can save money. He's never demonstrated how he can save money doing that. And so I've been critical of that. Besides that, what you're doing is you're taking the FEHBP and you're shrinking it, so it may hurt other employees possibly. And he's never made a satisfactory case to me on that, so I don't support that. And what was another objection you had? You said the FEHBP and
So,
yeah, tell me what it does on the retirement stuff.
I have a question after that, though.
Okay. So what does it do?
Well, we're not sure. I mean, we haven't got the full story yet, only that, what we hear. And so really that's what we're trying to get.
There's a provision, I think, is it 1486? I can't remember all the numbers on these bills because there's so many. But anyway, 1486. If I remember right, there's a provision that changes. Is it pre-funding your retirement?
Yes.
Is that what it does? It changes that.
That's the money we have to put up at front every year.
Yeah. And you guys, y'all don't necessarily want it as is, but you don't like the change that they're proposing in this. Is that fair to say?
Well, we don't want to have to put up all that money the pre-fund somebody that benefits in 70 years in advance. It's just too much of a drain on the postal service to have to learn
yet.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons.
We're the only so government agency that even has to do that. I mean, it's like, give me 50% of your income right up front, and then we'll deal with the rest of the year without any money.
So I know that there have been, last year when we changed that, I think we changed that to y'all's satisfaction, didn't we, last year? Do you remember?
No,
It wasn't satisfactory last year?
it wasn't repealed.
I thought
They
it,
said they didn't have to make it.
It was delayed.
it was delayed, is that, I remember we did, I thought we did something on it. I
There was a slight adjustment, but it wasn't nearly what they were looking for in the last.
That was pretty, that provision was somewhat contentious in the Senate committee last time. It seemed like on the floor too, trying to fix that. And so what else do you not like about 1480? Oh, let's do the
I have a
question.
question about, you mentioned Inspector General. All the consolidations that I've seen across the United States, when the Government Accounting Office does their report, every one of them have shown that the savings have been misquoted by millions in the initial plan by the post office. When they've actually done it, the savings have been a fraction of what they've said. First class delivery service has gone down, et cetera, et cetera. Every consolidation, how long does that have to happen before we get to Post Record General?
Well, that's what, yeah, that's a good question. That's been one of my criticisms because I've noticed that too, that they make all these claims about savings, but when you really get inside the numbers, they're not there. I remember we got into this the first time, this was a few years ago, when they were consolidating some of the mail processing centers, and some of your guys, I don't remember exactly who it was, came to Washington, I don't remember who was.
It would be me.
Okay. But, you know, made a pretty compelling case that their numbers didn't add up.
Yeah, I think I quoted you guys $1 million they would lose.
Yeah, and
That's
so,
me.
and so we went back and looked, and sure enough, you're right. I mean, they don't add up. And,
Hey, if I was right, why did we close Fort Smith?
Why do we close so many?
I know.
Close all of Arkansas's 10 plants but 2.
Yeah.
And that's my question in a nutshell. If I'm right, and it cost them $1 million to close, and they didn't save anything, and evidently you guys have looked at something correct, why were they allowed to close Fort Smith?
Well, you know, the Postmaster General has that authority to do
Why
that.
is he still working?
I know, but listen, I'm not a big fan of Postmaster General, don't get me wrong, okay? But I'm not going to defend anything he says, because I've tangled with him more than once. I don't know if y'all have seen some of that in the committee, but I've called him out in the committee several times on some of this stuff. But, you know, he is duly appointed and all that stuff, and he has the discretion. And, you know, one of the things that we did in last year's bill was we tried to put a lot more accountability in there, make him accountable to somebody, which right now is not really. You know, you have the Post Reform Commission, and they can come back, or is it called the Postal Commission, or Post Reform? Postal Reform. Yeah. They can come back, and they can make all these recommendations. He doesn't have to follow anything, they don't have to do anything, they can question, they can do whatever. And, you know, there's no real check and balance there. So he really doesn't have anybody that's putting pressure on him.
Wasn't it you that asked him why he thought he was
And quite frankly, it answer the question, but at least not in my mind. So, yeah, so we tangle with him quite a bit. We, you know, on the 6-day delivery, it's a big deal. Again, show us the numbers, show us your analysis, make your case. You know, I'll look at it, but you got to make your case. You can't just say it. You got to show us the numbers, and he's been very reluctant to do that.
And what we're seeing, and I'm going to go to meeting in just a minute on that question. What we're seeing, Fort Smith, for instance, they closed down Fort Smith. A year from now, or a year from when they close it down, we'll get numbers to show where these savings like that. Theoretically, they would have to open it back up if those numbers didn't match. But when they closed down, they were taking $1 million machine and just basically give it to a scrapyard.
Yeah.
So they're going to have when they do it, they'll make the argument, we can't open back up, it costs too much money, because they literally scrapped out machinery.
And the other thing is, you guys know this better than anybody, is y'all have already gone through lots of changes. This isn't like someone's waking up last week and saying, oh, we need to change postal service. You guys, for the last, 10 years or so, have been going through all kinds of transitions, and y'all know it, they've thinned out the workforce quite a bit. They've gone to a lot more, say, automation and other things, and they've consolidated all kinds of stuff. I mean, y'all have gone through a lot of, I've forgotten the numbers right now, I just don't have them, but the size of the postal workforce today compared to, say, 15 years ago, what do y'all like, half as big or a third as big or something? I mean, it's dramatic. And so it's not like people have been trying to do this, and y'all are the ones who have been taking some of the hit. But anyway, I do think we obviously need to do postal reform.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. It's good to see you again. we do need to do postal reform, and, you know, it's something that, in concept I support, but we have to do it the right way. I guess that's my point, gotta do it the right way.
Well, there's not much more you can be flexible about from our perspective. I mean, we're doing twice as much work now than we did pre-2006. If they keep reducing the workforce, it's just not possible. It's not. Something's got to happen. And pre-funding these retired benefits is sinking our ship. It really is. Ever since that went into effect, we've gone downhill. And we've gone from, what's the number, Dennis? How many in the clerk crowd? 300 and what to now?
Down about 200,000 now.
Yeah, like-
Between
Right.
180 and 200,000.
Well, it all comes down to without that $5-some billion pre-funding or whatever, the post office was not the red. I mean,
No.
they were operating on.
We had a
But
surplus.
when you have to put that $5-some
Yeah,
billion.
we have to fix that, and there's a history on that predates me being Senate.
What was the reason for it to begin with?
Well, some of these guys are gonna have to tell us, but basically, the numbers somehow, and again, this is before I got there, but the numbers through the legislative process changed, and basically y'all are overfunding, right? Isn't that right?
Yes.
And like the only guys doing this in the first place, and now you're overdoing it, and it just really hurts the bottom line. So y'all tell me what the reason was. I don't.
Bush.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
it's bottom line.
The lame duck session, so that was something they stuck in there, you know, and who knows what's carry on back.
Do you remember what year it was?
2006.
December, lame duck, December 2006.
I believe it was because they needed $5 billion to reduce the national deficit. That they can't get that money back because it's evaporated into the red
It's
ink.
gone.
It's gone.
And Congress can borrow money, but granted, they pay it back out of this fund, but we can't. We're in the red, we're on this sinking ship going down, people are working excessive hours, losing their jobs, being excess, plants closing. We can't get into that fund, but Congress can. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well,
And the
you
big
know-
issue is the service, it's really going down. That's the main thing, the service.
It's supposed to be about service, and it's not anymore.
It's
at all.
not.
And although they
And it
say
only shames us, because that's what we're there for.
they say our numbers are reducing, but you say full-time employee numbers are reducing, but the part-time employees with no benefits is increasing, and it's all about getting a lower-cost worker. And the rotation of those lower-cost workers
With no experience.
with no experience, and the quality of service is decreasing, and the burden of trying to balance the budget is on the middle-class workers' backs, and they haven't reduced the hierarchy's numbers at all. They're increasing, and the people who actually touch the mail is decreasing. And it seems like there's an injustice or imbalance.
Yeah, there's 3 times as many in management now, and with that much less in workers. Who are they managing?
Is that right?
Well,
Yes.
since
That's true.
2000 since 2006, management has increased, what, 54%?
Yes.
54%.
Yeah.
And
Why
we're
would
the
they?
ones
There's
moving
less
the mail,
than
and we're
50%.
disappearing. That makes no sense.
What do they call management? What
That's all I know.
Wrong room to ask that question.
Basically, management is district and above,
District and above.
because the postmasters at local levels can't make a decision.
No. Well, but there's more supervisors on our floor at times than there are clerks.
That's right. And
Now,
no,
we're getting mail in spurts, where we used to get kind of an even flow. But the reason for that is they closed the efficient newer post offices and put it into a place like Memphis, that's a dinosaur. And they can't get the mail to us. We get actually, we got some flyers the other day that was dated for Lowe's or someone, but anyhow, the last day. We couldn't have got it to the people.
We've gotten it
By
when
the
it was
last-
past the last
Remember
day.
in the good old days when you used to get a first class letter the next day or the day after that? Now it's taking 10 days to get from California to here,
And you can't blame the American public for being mad,
right?
because they don't understand how it works. They're just mad at us.
Let me say this too. Obviously, I'm gonna try to help you guys, always have tried to help you, as best I could. But, you know, you do have people in Washington, literally, that want to see the Postal Service go away.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
And, and they think, you know, that FedEx and UPS are so much better, but y'all know the whole story on that. You know,
We have to carry it.
I know, I get it, I get it. They people up there don't want to understand that. They also don't want to understand, they don't even try to understand that FedEx and UPS don't have a model where you pay 40-something cents and deliver from, you know, right here in Springdale, Arkansas to whatever, Biloxi, Mississippi in a couple of days. They don't want that business. They'll charge you $10 for that.
They drop that shit
Right?
Exactly, exactly.
But they won't do it for what y'all are trying to do. And, you know, the Postal Service is actually written in the Constitution, as you all know, and it was essential then, and it's essential now. And it's just a very important part of our economy and communication economy. So, and I understand the changes that have happened. Y'all see it, gosh, y'all live with it every day.